What if I told you that the Democrat Party is collapsing right now, and the media is doing everything in its power to make sure you never find out? Not collapsing in the way the pundits spin it, not the usual tough cycle narrative they roll out every 2 years. We are talking about a structural, accelerating, irreversible collapse. The kind that shows up not in carefully crafted polls, not in prime-time spin segments, but in the one place you cannot fake, the one place you cannot manipulate, the cold, hard math of voter registration records. And it gets worse, because it is not just ordinary voters walking away. Right now, lifelong Democrats, people who spent decades building careers inside that party, people the left considered untouchable, are quitting. Publicly, loudly, and with explanations so devastating that the legacy media refuses to even cover them.
If you believe the mainstream media is lying to you about what is really happening in American politics, smash that like button right now.
Because what we're about to show you is the story they are desperately trying to bury. The numbers are in, and they are catastrophic for the left. Here is something you need to understand before we get into the numbers. Polls can be manipulated. Polls can be cherry-picked, weighted, and spun until they say whatever the people paying for them want them to say. We have seen it happen over and over again. But voter registration data, that cannot be faked. That is real people making real decisions, signing real documents, and changing their legal party affiliation on the record. It is the single most accurate predictor of election outcomes that exists. And right now, state by state, those numbers are telling a story so dramatic, so one-sided, so utterly devastating for the Democrat Party that even their most loyal defenders cannot spin their way out of it. Let us start with Florida.
Florida is not just a red state anymore. Florida is becoming a Republican fortress. Since November of 2024, the GOP has gone from a 7.8% voter registration advantage all the way to an 11.2% advantage. Let that sink in. Florida is now registering as more Republican than Texas. And out of 67 counties in the entire state, only 8 out of 67, still have a Democrat majority registration.
8. Remember, this is the same Florida that voted for Barack Obama. Twice. The shift that has happened in that state over the last 10 years is not just significant. It is breathtaking. And here is why Florida matters beyond its own borders. Since 1952, wherever Florida goes, Pennsylvania and Michigan follow. These three states move together like clockwork. So when Florida surges this hard to the right, it does not stay in Florida. It sends a shockwave straight into the industrial Midwest. But that is not even the most shocking part. Let us talk about Iowa. Iowa is the bellwether for Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is a state that does not even track voter registration by party, which means we cannot see its numbers directly. But we can see Iowa, and Iowa tells us everything we need to know. The GOP already held a 10.3% voter registration advantage in Iowa back in November of 2024. That number has now climbed to 11.1%. Democrats have hemorrhaged over 11,000 active registrations in just 16 months. 16 months. And it gets worse. Democrats are now trailing independent voters in all 4 of Iowa's congressional districts. They are not in second place in Iowa anymore. They are in third place. In a two-party country, one of the 2 major parties has collapsed into third place in an entire state. And because Iowa moves Wisconsin, that means Wisconsin, a state Trump flipped, is continuing to drift further and further out of the Democrat column with every passing month. Now let us go to the state that decides everything. Pennsylvania. No Republican presidential candidate has ever won the White House without winning Pennsylvania. Ever. And right now, Pennsylvania is slipping through the Democrat Party's fingers in real time. Their overall voter registration advantage has already shrunk from 3.1% in 2024 down to 2.1% today. But among active voters, the people who actually show up, the collapse is even steeper. Democrats have gone from a 1.6% advantage all the way down to just 0.7%. Analysts are now projecting that Pennsylvania will flip to a Republican majority registration state within a matter of months, not years. Months. And the 2 counties that serve as Pennsylvania's ultimate bellwether, Erie County and Northampton County, are both trending right. Hard. Here is where it gets even more extraordinary.
North Carolina has just done something it has never done in its entire history. For the first time ever, Republicans have taken the lead in party identification in North Carolina. the Democrats held a 1.3% voter registration advantage as recently as November of 2024. That advantage is gone. Republicans now lead by 0.1%. It is a small number, but the direction it represents is seismic.
Arizona is not stopping either. The Republican voter registration advantage there has grown from 6.8% to 7.4%, and it is still climbing. And Nevada, a state that was still showing a Democrat voter registration advantage as recently as November of 2024, has flipped. Democrats had a 0.5% edge. That edge is gone. Republicans now lead Nevada by 0.3%. 6 states: Florida, Iowa, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. Every single one moving in the same direction. Every single one accelerating. Every single one rewriting what we thought we knew about the American political map. 6 dominoes. And they are all falling the same way. But here is where it gets really dangerous for the left, because all of this is happening before the redistricting maps are even finalized. Let us put this all together, because what we are watching right now may be one of the most significant political realignments in modern American history. There is a rule in American politics that has held for over a century. The party in power loses seats in the midterms, almost without exception. It is not a theory. It is not a talking point. It is a pattern so consistent, so ironclad, that political scientists treat it like a law of gravity. In the last 100 years, there have been only 3 exceptions. 3 times in a century where the party holding the White House actually gained seats in a midterm election. 3 times. And right now, everything we are seeing, the defections, the 4-to-1 switching ratio, the mass migration out of blue states, the redistricting maps locking in Republican advantages, and 6 consecutive battleground states showing accelerating Republican voter registration surges, all of it is pointing toward the possibility of a 4th exception. Think about what that would mean. Not just a good midterm cycle, not just holding serve, an actual, historic, generational repudiation of the Democrat Party at the ballot box, in an election environment that is supposed to favor them. The structural conditions for that outcome are being built right now, registration by registration, county by county, state by state. Now, nothing is guaranteed. Midterms are unpredictable. Turnout is unpredictable. And the Democrats still have their ground game, their money, and their media apparatus working around the clock to stop this wave before it becomes a tsunami. But here is the truth that no amount of media spin can erase. The people are moving, the data is undeniable, and the Democrat Party, the party that once dominated American politics, is shrinking, fracturing, and hemorrhaging support at a rate that no establishment talking head saw coming. The question is no longer whether this realignment is real. The question is how far it goes. And that question is about to get a whole lot more urgent, because the voter registration collapse is only one piece of a much larger story that is unfolding right now across America. The redistricting battles are heating up, the court decisions are coming, and the Democrat Party is making moves behind the scenes that the mainstream media is not covering, moves that could either slow this wave or accelerate it into something nobody in Washington is prepared for. The world is changing faster than anyone predicted. Click on the next video and join us as we cover exactly what is coming next.